the dive because Naga did not have much of a fun time last time round.
No, that is not the case for Naga, unfortunately. But having a look at what One.PoinT are going to bring out there, obviously on the defense first, we get to have a better look at what they're going to be running. Double sniper, and they're going to be keeping on with, looks like Scalar and Fat. But interestingly enough, they're opting for Mercy and a Brigitte in this composition.
It's always really interesting because you can probably recall back to a number of solo queue games where someone takes the Brigitte and you have one of the healer and they're like, there's two supports. And it's like, but she's not really a support. In this case, it works because of the comp you're building it around. Scalar essentially here is just replacing what the Roadhog would do. So it does help to have that second healer in a sense, the second tanky support. Not quite got the same potential in terms of the Holt and then straight into a hook, but it does give you a lot of stun potential if you're expecting dive from the other side. And they'll be right. We're going to see that hybrid Widow dive.
But already Frost is up there. Fat with the pocket. The Holt goes out, finds no one. And Fat having difficulty getting a good read. He's going to have to fall back though because he knows that that wave of Copenhagen Flames is encroaching.
I'm hoping Naga has learned from his lesson last time because every time he tried to flank off to the right-hand side, he was getting picked off by the Widowmaker as soon as he walked around the corner. So how he chooses to play this one out could be quite influential. He's currently going around to that right-hand side again. It feels like One.PoinT aren't really aware of that though.
Just going to hold that position. They're using terrain and the shield to keep himself alive. Naga has gone off by himself, already tagged in the back. Going to recall straight into the danger zone. The Scalar going to stun him up, hit him with a couple of whips, but the double dash from Naga will keep him alive, as will the health pack. Meanwhile, on the main point, the rest of Copenhagen Flames have taken that distraction, the 2v1 that Naga created, and used it to win the actual war on the point. With Malzaza going very low, and this split his attention already. You can see Scalar getting back into the fight. Molf going to clean up, and already Danye at a distance got a good angle to provide covering fire. Copenhagen Flames may not have done it in the most direct way, but have got control of point A.
Naga did just enough that he did what a Tracer is designed to do, which is to annoy and harass by pulling Scalar away on that Brigitte. They had no counter dive, and the Widow's also looking towards where Naga was. Just gives it such an easy amount of room for Flames to be able to dive in and get the pick. And you saw the pressure coming through. Ding was trying to almost 1v1 Frost, but on the full knowledge that Molf was equally going to dive onto Frost as well. So really well coordinated by Flames. One.PoinT a little bit slow on the uptake.
And then Flames going up, line up the shot. He had plenty of time for that one. Fortunately, going to miss the shot on Horfik. Will get the dink on Nerf as he comes back down. Sorry, on Malzaza as he comes back down. Fighting through the main point, Naga already finding Frost. Self-destruct on the point, a double kill for Naga on the Tracer. Looking to burn through Brucein. Won't let this guy escape. Needs to call in the Mercy for support. Still might even get the D-Mech. He does get it, but it's Nerf who comes in with the Goomba Stomp energy to make sure they get taken down. Copenhagen Flames have dismantled One.PoinT on this defense.
Did not fully expect to see them run and dive, but it's working absolute wonders for them. 6 minutes in the time bank, and they are firmly in control. Danye with these ranges. Well, the vision lines that he's finding, he's just seeing anyone who walks out of the spawn without any kind of cover.
And no one's got the freedom to contest him as well. You saw it there. Brucein walks out of spawn, gets half health. Frost walks out of spawn, gets completely demolished. Danye's got an open shooting gallery, and he can even contest the rest. Fat is having to waste time not healing to contend with him with that battle Mercy. And now when the Valkyrie's gone, oh, there we go. Finally, a Winston comes at him. Danye's by himself, but he's getting reinforcements in from Nerf. They really don't want to lose him, and they're healing from Graceful. Frost has to come in on the Tracer, so One.PoinT have fundamentally shifted how they're playing this game just to deal with that Widowmaker and stay alive on Anubis.
Really interesting to see him Frost roll out with the Tracer instead not going for the Widow to try and contest, but I think again Pika's advantage, he knows what Danye could do and thought, okay, let's try something a little bit different. Meanwhile though, his team managed to get at least a third on that point. It's not quite the full distance Tridd, but it definitely helps.
They set themselves a strong foundation to build on already. Horfik staying alive by just a slight miscalculation on that rocket by Naga, who's now on to the Farah, while Danye's going to keep himself busy on the Widowmaker, and he's doing work still. Malzaza going to get that headshot straight through him. Nerf's going to go down to Scalar, so the support still able to pull it out. This time he's obviously on the Zenyatta, got that Transcendence available, shut down after the resurrection comes through. Graceful no longer on the field to help out the rest of his team, and Frost dancing around, going to take a few shots at Nerf, but he's just going to back off.
I feel like they've got themselves into some kind of rhythm now as well. Flames not really able to roll on the momentum of the first push they had. Danye definitely getting shut down more and more on this Widow every single time he's stepping towards the point. A lot of that pressure, I think, comes down from Frost. And we saw Malzaza at the very start of the last fight. He dived in to try and pressure Danye. Problem is, if you're diving headfirst into Widow, she's going to be looking for that head. And believe it or not, with Winston, it's quite easy to hit. Frost now going to change things up, though. Tracer's been doing work, but it's time for some Junkrat.
3-3 composition from Copenhagen Flames, and it's a good read by One.PoinT to bring out the Junkrat into this especially. To be able to burn through the tankier aspects of this composition. As You see Scaler go in with that Transcendence. Everyone else being healed up by the Valkyrie. No kills coming through, but Frost is very close, and the Riptire going to make sure he pushes over that line of death. Mole getting killed, moving into the back line. He wants nerfed, and he's going to find him with that tire, already losing that tank. Looks like 1Point are going to turn this around again. Nice shutdown onto Ding. Coalescence comes out and is immediately met by a rocket from Horvik. They've got double explosives, and they're putting them to work against Copenhagen Flames.
This is going to be a very painful, reminiscent moment for Flames. This was the team that back in week 1 ran this double projectile setup to deal with tank-heavy teams. Now they're having it undone onto them completely. Now it becomes a really good game of rock, paper, scissors. Who switches what up to try and match the other side? Very quick notice there as well. Flames, despite getting wrecked towards the end of that fight, still managed to get another third on the point.
And they're playing very aggressive away from the point. They want to keep the fight well away so they have time to reinforce and make sure they can contest should it go south. Molv takes Horvik out of the sky. So Copenhagen Flames are going to push forward with that man advantage. Frost is going to level the playing field. Danye now on the Tracer, being shut down by Junkrat. Not much he can do about that with the explosives. Copenhagen Flames still taking it very slow, not going to bite off more than they can chew. Frost is found isolated, immediately uses the satchel charge to pump him away. The kill's going to come in for Naga, as the tracking was good enough to make sure, but now he's isolated himself for Malzaza and Ding to take out. Sorry, Malzaza and Scaler.
Thing is with Flames is they've got these ults coming online now. In fact, 5 of them are up for this next push. 1Point equally matching them, and Scaler's Transcendence could be the big difference here. Otherwise, well, it could be a win for Flames, but to be honest with you, there's no real tool for Flames available that can burst through that Transcendence. Yes, they can catch them. Yes, they can start swinging away with the Reinhardt. It's not going to be enough to get through that 300 health a second.
Frost is going to kick things up. This is bad for Copenhagen Flames. They're so condensed. He only gets Naga, which is actually a big win for Flames, all things considered. They're on to the point. Horvik finds another kill. Brewston's going to follow up. This is a reset for Flames. Don't use any of these ultimates. You're just wasting more of your time.
They did burn 3 out of 1Point, though, which is always nice. And Flames, okay, yeah, they're getting towards that Pulse Bomb. And it's not got the same impact it used to have back when it used to do 400 damage. A very, very common combo that we saw was indeed that Graviton Surge along with the Pulse Bomb. Don't think it's going to have the same explosive impact we've seen before. Maybe they try and go for a big self-destruct play, but that's going to rely so heavily on Nerf getting that charge through onto Malzaza.
Horvik, he's got that barrage. If they come through here, he's just going to be sitting ducks for the targets. Not fast enough with the defense matrix. Finds 2, when really that should have been an easy turnaround for Copenhagen Flames to shut down. Danye going to find 2 of his own without the use of an ultimate. Scaler and Horvik already being found as Frost going to find a third for 1Point and send Copenhagen Flames back again.
That's exactly why they've got Darnay on side, is to harass, at the very least, Fat, try and get as well onto the backline of the Junkrat. Frost, if he's given too much room, he'll have so much time to be able to deal with Flames. But speaking of Flames, they've got to deal with 6 ultimates and only 60 seconds left in the time bank. This could very much so be their last fight, Tridd.
Copenhagen Flames, they've got everything going for them in terms of ults. They're going to use the sound barrier liberally. The Graviton Surge is going to pull them together into the fight, but some of them have escaped the chaos and got onto the point. The Transcendence comes out from Scaler, level through it, Nerf, shatter onto both the tanks. They need to be able to eliminate them, but the Transcendence is keeping them alive. No one goes down off the back of it, and Horvik's coming back in. Nearly got that barrage again. Going to take the Reinhardt off the top ground. Danye was great to find that Riptire, keeps some of his teammates alive. The kills are still going in favor of 1Point. Self-destruct finding graceful. Fat getting a kill onto Nerf. He just needs a couple more blaster shots to make it happen. Scaler and Brewston following up again. It's 15 seconds. Copenhagen Flames used 5 ultimates and made a fraction of progress on the point. That shouldn't be happening. 1Point, valiant defense. Just need to maybe get one more sliver of hope from Copenhagen Flames, but surely this is going to be a completion for 1Point. They're going to shut it down, make sure Copenhagen Flames can't get this.
Graceful did get in the backline and get a bit jumpy. The change over to dive, but it's a bit too late when Horvik is actually gunning down every single member of the team, giving them a hosing down with the ultimate, as well as some regular rockets to finish off the stragglers. It's going to be a full hold coming through for 1Point.
80% required on point B for 1Point when they go onto the offense. And that's exactly what we're going to see Copenhagen Flames defending against. It'll be difficult for them to pull this one off. Usually we see a couple of completions on Anubis typically. But if the teams are level, it doesn't matter how many rounds you go. It just matters if you can beat your opponent.
Telling you some porky pies there. Obviously wasn't a full hold. 79.2% on the clock. So not a terrible effort.
Yeah.
They gave it a good go. They've got something to fight for, it feels like. Everyone needs a reason to fight Tridd, and this could be their reason. They know that even if they lose a fight on the second point, they can still muscle this one back. 1Point, time to see what they try and mix things up with here. Again, we've seen a lot of different variety of plays coming through. It depends if they think that they want to try and take that 1 versus 1 against Danye. Frost abandoned that, let's not forget, quite early on the second point. He thought, you know what? there's no point. I want to go and play the Tracer. I want to get into the back line and start harassing the Widow, getting onto the supports. Biggest problem there was Darnier was like, no, you're not. Immediate headshot as soon as he walked outside of the gate. So they've got to find a way to deal with Darnier because he's having a very good game on this Widowmaker, and it's just slowing 1Point down.
At 1Point, I think they're going to do what they did on Iconvolt, Des. They've got the Sombra locked in. We might see a scout from Horthic go straight back, feed that information, and adapt on the fly to what Copenhagen Flames are going with. Widowmaker and Junkrat seems to be the combination. You already spoke about the lethality of Darnier on this Widowmaker when he's uncontested. I think 1Point, if they spot that, they're going to identify and they're going to send Malzaza right at him.
It's always the hope, but we always had that problem in the last game where when he solo dived, he was basically dealt with quite quickly, dispatched off by the Widowmaker and her allies. So may go for the scout, or they're trying not for dive. I imagine they're trying not towards the dive, and in fact, I like this setup they've got coming through right now. I can't remember. I think Scalar, as one of the Zenyatta players did pick up the Widowmaker, it may have been Scalar.
Well, he's going to switch over to the Zenyatta. They're going to run on a full dive composition into Copenhagen Flames.
It's going to bug me until I know who it was now. We'll find out another time because it is going to be full dive as their answer. So no sneaky Sombra scouts. They're just going to opt to see what they come up against. And to be honest with you, counter dive or anti-dive as it's more commonly called, but when you have the Junkrat and the Orisa together, it's going to make it hard for them to do most anything.
That's the assumption that Junkrat and Orisa are the target. Somehow I feel they're all going to go for Darnier. And the Junkrat and Orisa aren't near there to help, and I don't think they have the mobility that Darnier has. No kills coming in, just trying to gain that territory, and you can see already the silhouette of Horthic running around the back. I don't think anyone's noticed it just yet. Malzasa's coming to party as well. A lot of people have come through this slight window and across the map as well.
They're getting
Frost is in position. They know where both of these divers are. There's 3 on the side of Frost, but no one on the side of where the rest of 1Point are. They're having to reposition fast. Horthic's trapped behind. No one's turning for the kill. Darnier still finds Fat. Shurikens are flying at Naga. Frost going to get a D-Mech. A lot of chaos happening on the high ground. Not many people on the point. The kills going over to 1Point though. Scalar, Malzaza, they got the kills into both DPS from Copenhagen Flames. They should be able to turn this around. Molsfin D-Mechs as well. It should be 1Point to fight to take, assuming Copenhagen Flames can't put out a valiant defense.
It's a really good setup there just to be able to collapse and pincer on Darnier so he had nowhere to run, because with Widowmaker, it's very easy to zip between the 2 high grounds and stay safe. Didn't have the opportunity here. Wherever he went, there was someone to answer him. That pulse bomb not quite finding the target for Frost.
We're still alive in this game. Reinforcements coming in. Horthic wants to cut them down as he pulls out the Dragon Blade. Nearly gets the D-Mech. Going to have a takedown by Darnier to take him out of the sky. And Darnier again with a shot onto Frost in close range. He was extremely low HP. It was an easy cleanup for Malzaza to make off that kill. Naga still being a nuisance, stalling it out. Progress being made. Copenhagen Flames, I don't know if they can actually contest this. I think they're opting to stay on point B, knowing that 1Point are going to take this one.
Even with Malzaza sticking on Darnier, Darnier was still able to find 2 kills off the back of that. And that just shows the kind of composure under pressure that this guy can pull off. Wondrous stuff. But now Flame's going to switch it up. Darnier going straight over onto that Brigitte. They want to try and make sure they've got at least some potential here to deal with 1Point when they try and bowl through with this dive.
Just shy of 6 minutes for 1Point. They need to get 79.2% to match out Copenhagen Flames. And that 0.1 of a percentile will win them the map and put them at match point going into our final map of the series.
So what they can do. Naga, once again, we've already seen today what he can do on that Fara University, the one map that Harry called out and said, well, he was pretty scary there, and this is a good opportunity to be scary once again. They've only got to get 79.2%, let's not forget Tridd.
They've got both support ultimates, and they've got a primal rage from Malzaza to stall things out. He's going to pop that straight away. Discord should help Copenhagen Flames burn through him, but he's failing to go consistently under half HP. Frost going to be taken down. Naga getting Scalar as well, so both supports down. And Naga again on the Fara. He's finding all the kills he needs. It's a buffet for him to feast on. Gonna stall out D.Va. Concussive Blast to knock them back. They're really going to burn as much time as possible onto Brucin and kill him at the last possible moment.
So cruel.
Yet so enjoyable to watch.
The death of a gamer, not so fun. But seeing a D.Va go down, always nice to get that extra stagger time in there because you know it's going to slow 1Point down at least momentarily. Looking at their ultimates coming online, they've nearly got Horthic with that blade once again. Ding is miles away from the Transcendence Tridd, so this could be big unless Darnier gets a crucial stun off.
Stun, Rocket Flail Whip, either will work to buy some more time for his team to react to it. Naga's got that barrage, so it's going to be good to give everyone a nice little hosing down with rockets. And already forcing Malzaza away. A couple of directs will make sure that he thinks twice about that. Horthic pulls up the deflect, dashes to the back of his team. It's still open season for Naga as he's just shooting through the protection of a Winston bubble. He's been placed up high, and there is his protector up high with him if anyone wants to match the verticality of the Farah.
Still trying to find that in here at 1Point, just positioning and waiting for the right moment. Since they found it, is now they're going in with all the ultimates being popped out as well. The
supports are just left exposed for this to happen. Horfic's going to get a deflection eventually to shut down Naga, but 1Point lost too much on their offense. So Copenhagen Flames still holding 1Point away from getting any % charge on point B.
Sting twice getting that kill. This call there, actually, it was Danye who brought out the ultimate. I thought it was 1Point going for their big engage with Frost leading the charge, but his ultimate wasn't even online. That does mean now that at least for Copenhagen Flames, a number of their members, Ding most importantly, have got that armor online, especially for him, sat underneath that shield.
Always important to have it that way around. It's an interesting mechanic to have and creates Ding. Gives Ding an extra level of protection as you'd expect. So he can be a little bit more confident and a little bit more risky going for those damaging orbs. Naga from the side. Here's the blade from Horfic. Gonna cut through Danye. He's trapped in the corner though. Can't get past the self-destruct. Can't get past Nerf. Will go down with only 1 kill to his name. Meanwhile, the chaos on the point itself is elevating even further. Graceful's going to bring Danye back, so both supports are there. Transcendence in the middle, and Nerf is throwing those hands around. It's Frost who gets the haymaker to the face, and it's going to be a D-mech as well. Nerf jumps onto the back line, going to have Malzahar jump back with him to reinforce. This is 1Point bugging out. They don't want this, but Naga doesn't want to let them do that at all.
Definitely showing and justifying, if nothing else, his switch over to projectile heroes. Again, it was Danye who was the big player last season for Bazooka Puppies, picking up that Farah. This time around, it's Naga doing the shining, and Danye's going to switch over to the Widowmaker as well. That classic setup that we see between the Farah and the Hanzo.
Yeah, Widowmaker not to be found on Copenhagen Flames.
Did I say Widowmaker?
You did, unfortunately, my friend.
I apologise, viewers and friends everywhere.
Danye's going to be there, available with Hanzo. Storm Arrow from Horfic. He's going to match him on the Hanzo as well. Bring it into Molfig, get the recon arrow at the back, make sure everyone doesn't get away from his sights. And already you see the diving duo of Malzahar and Bruce going to the high ground to contest. Naga comes from the side. The barrage is strong enough to get Scalar, but Horfic, with a second delay, will find Naga. So they're going to be a trade rather than a save. He's already on the point, got the Dragon Strike, might want to hold on to it, going to send it straight through the point where he thinks the rest of the team are. Self-destruct's following the path of the Dragon, straight to the back. Horfic's the one with the D-Mech, and the rest of the tanks and the ability to 1Point are onto the point, but the Dragon Strike comes through in Copenhagen Flames. Scalar's going to go down. He was close to the Transcendence, but he didn't have it for this fight. Naga's up high, Horfic's going to shut him down. This Hanzo might be the change that 1Point needed to get control of this map. The progress is ticking up. Everyone's coming out, but Copenhagen Flames seem to have got a lid and a bit of a control on 1Point.
Didn't even manage to cap the first point, so this whole thing was in vain ultimately. Bit of a shame for 1Point. They've only got a minute on the clock and they are down in ultimates to Copenhagen Flames. Yes, Scalar is about to get that Transcendence online, but they need something big to get the pickups. Really small little funny thing with that one was when Horfic was trying to bring down Naga during his ult, he ran out of Storm Arrows, so it was like, oh no, got to charge up. What is you doing, girl? Had to recharge it back up and then get the second shot in. By that time, Scalar had gone down, and again, we spoke in the last series about small differences affecting the series. Not having a Zen, not having that Discord, not having the healing or the potential Transcendence, that could have cost them this round.
Copenhagen Flames have a lot more stall in their pocket. They got the Primal Rage and the Transcendence for Ding and Nerf.
Trying to roll the way in. Transcendence is the big one. Scalar's got it, but when they choose to burn it, it's going to be the difference, because Ding has his online. If they can force it out of Scalar first, this could be Flames' fight to lose.
Naga's going around from the side, he's getting pocketed. There's the Transcendence early. Naga could find a window here that he can deal some more damage and get that. Oh, Horfic's going to send the Dragon Strike straight through the point, cut off the support. The Dragons are going to trade places, almost like they're going down a road. Malzahar and Frost finding the double, forcing out the resurrection from Graceful to bring Naga back. 99%, nearly got that barrage. They're so close to getting the victory here.
Even with Ding bringing out the Transcendence, there was only 4 of them around him at the time, so they couldn't make it work. This is at 1Point's final chance to go through, and Horfic is tearing them apart.
They're saving grace for 1Point as they take out Danye, Molfig. They've got 6 bodies on the point, only 1 contesting, but he's being pocketed by Graceful, who just lost the Valkyrie. Horfic's going to find Nerf. It's all about Graceful getting onto the point and stalling. He's going to meet his demise as well. They're sending reinforcements out. Molf finds Scalar, will be taken out immediately by Horfic. Ding comes out on the Sombra. Danye's there with the Tracer.
Supports
it's full stall for Copenhagen Flames, and they're trying to make it work. A little bit more percentage going. 3 bodies on the point. Here comes a tank. That's going to be harder to kill, but Brucean makes it easy work with the micro missiles. Going to take him out. Molfig coming back in again with the Doomfist. Pulse Bomb available for Frost. They're chasing down, trying to cut out the reinforcements. Copenhagen Flames get the hack onto Frost. He's been immobilized and taken out from Danye. They're still stalling this one run out. Even if they're coming through in bits and pieces, they need to find those supports again. Make sure there's no reinforcements. Fat, so close to going down. Horvik on the Sombra will get gunned down by Danye. Copenhagen Flames, they turn it around. They burn through the overtime, and they're going to take Temple of Anubis.
Just goes to show what a stall in the dying seconds can do. Copenhagen Flames managing to fight 1 point off once again. They find themselves in such a scary situation now where Copenhagen Flames might not have only won their first map of Contenders, they're on the verge of winning their first series.
With 2-1 scoreline, looking to eye up that fourth and final, potentially final map. Who knows? 1 point could come back and force out a 5-map series. And with that point, would be going to Ilios for the tiebreaker. So there's still all that to play for. If you look at the score there, 2-1. It's looking good and surprising for Copenhagen Flames based on past week performance. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you the fourth map of this series. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders Europe. We're about to jump into the fourth map of this series, and for the first time in a very long time, we can't say it's the final map of the series because we just don't know. 2-1 scoreline, always refreshing to have coming into the final map, and I think it surprises a lot of people that it's Copenhagen Flames who have the lead so far.
It's kind of funny when you look at all the fixtures for today, because we kind of came in today saying, okay, we actually think these are quite decisive. You know, Giganti and CIS Hope are playing two of the stronger teams in the group. You have 1 point versus Flames. Flames, a team that had got no wins, no map wins. Here they sit with an opportunity to get their first series win and still keep their playoffs hopes alive. No team wants to fall into 5th and 6th spot because it means that you then have to go into trials and re-earn your place in Contenders, whereas a playoff spot isn't just a position in playoffs, it guarantees you a place here for Season 3. They've got to pull out the fight, though. We're seeing it so far, but fourth map is where it all gets decided. They're not all decided, but it definitely puts them in a lot of pressure if it does go to the 5th map.
Well, the team getting to decide it, of course, is 1 point. They lost Temple of Anubis. They're going to get to choose the fourth map from our hero pool, from our map pool. Imagine if you got to choose the opponent's heroes. You can't play Doomfish.
I want to play on Winston today, yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't play Winston.
Doesn't quite work.
No Widowmaker. I'm tired of it.
I imagined, in all honesty, we'll probably see Rialto come through as the map pick. It seems to be the most popular one in Contenders by a long mile so far. Every single team seeming to opt towards it. We've seen a few teams come up with crazy strats. Angry Titans always remind me when they played against August and Hungary, bringing out a double shield strat coming through on Gibraltar. Speaking of which, it's going to be Gibraltar Tridd. No more Rialto.
That's a nice shake-up. We see a lot of Rialto. I mean, it's pretty good to see it. It's the first time it was being played in competitive Overwatch was on European Contenders, I believe, or just Contenders in general. but One.PoinT Gibraltar finally going to shake things up. Seems that Route 66 is the child that's being left out, unfortunately. It's the one that the parents are just like, you're okay, but I like your older brother more.
Yeah, a lot of teams do seem to opt away from it. But to be honest with you, Gibraltar and Rialto are both fantastic maps. Gibraltar, because again, we see so often coming through the double sniper setup with dive tanks on that first point. We've seen teams roll all the way through with an Orisa setup. There's been a lot of variety, and that's kind of been the story of this season, if nothing else, I feel, is that teams aren't afraid to mix things up and try different things. Again, Gigantu with the double shield hold on Volskaya first. I've mentioned it so many times because it was a very interesting setup. It's exactly the same on Gibraltar, but I think with both of these teams having very strong sniper players, both on Hanzo and Widowmaker, it makes perfect sense.
Well, we can hear the audio and now the visual of One.PoinT Gibraltar. Copenhagen Flames going on to the defense first time around, and One.PoinT going to try and make their name on Watchpoint. Force out that 5th map and then potentially take it away, but remember what happened when they played Control last time. It was Copenhagen Flames with the easy clap 2-0 when it came to Control maps. So are they wanting to? Are they expecting a win on Ilios if it goes to it, or was it just Oasis as a map?
At one point, got to be in that situation now where they're feeling worried. Like you say, they win this one, got to go and play them on the next map. It's their map pick, so you would hope, at least in some situation, they'll come prepared for this one and they can win this one out. But this has been one of the oldest maps in the games. No doubt, Flames have got a lot of play time on it, both competitively and, of course, well, you always say competitively, and you're like, well, solo queue technically is called competitive.
Officials.
Officials.
What the term the players use, they go scrims, officials, competitive.
That is true.
Call it officials.
Used to a very different world where competitive means literally competitive.
Yeah.
But
everyone's a competitor though, Des. That's what the Path to Pro is all about. Anyone can be that superstar in the OWL. It all starts in that competitive queue.
I love the plug, Tridd. You did it fantastically well. But Flames currently opting to roll out with just a single sniper. Not really a setup we often see. It's common here that you'll stick a Widowmaker at the very, very back, making sure that no one can dive uncontested at the very least onto that box area. You stick the hands on the box itself and plug away, make sure anyone jumping up equally is getting melted. But One.PoinT, they're opting to go with the 3-2-1, and we've seen a few teams employ this previously. Let's see how long they can make it work for, because it's very easy to get flanked over the top.
Sending Bruce in ahead to clear a path for them, make sure that Horfit can move up uncontested into that kind of first stop on their journey through the first point. Need to get control of this high ground. Then, like you said, Des, they can move onto the blue box. Already, Horfit finds Danye, so that should be the go button for One.PoinT's mobile tanks to move in. Graceful, of course, going to bring the Resurrection back, so it's good of them to not pull the trigger too early in here. Looking to get that high ground. Danye this time finds Frost, so him being brought back, great advantage for Copenhagen Flames. Already unable to take control of that premium territory. Going to move away. That brings in the Resurrection for Frost.
It's very interesting how bringing Naga on the Brigitte almost doubles down on you holding onto this high ground, because someone steps up there, they get stunned up immediately. It's a free shot coming through from Danye, and once again he finds Frost.
The free shot was used adequately to take out Frost. Horfit finding Nerf, so missing one of the tanks. Resurrection for Graceful again. All the work that's being done by One.PoinT is being undone by Graceful, and of course Naga is stopping that territory from moving any further away from them.
The problem here is they've actually managed to get on the high ground. As soon as you can stage there and get your abilities back up, you can do things like this where you clean through the team. This should be One.PoinT taking the first point over Tridd.
Cool, so you got the high ground. Who's on the payload? You got 2 on there. Clear them out. Take it home to the home stretch. 1 point with 2 minutes 30 on the clock. Looking close to securing the first point on this map, and Copenhagen Flames know they can't contest them for that distance.
I understand the intent behind what they were trying to do in terms of not even allowing One.PoinT onto the high ground, but there's this thing called Dragon Strike, and what it's very, very good at is forcing you out of a small area. And guess what the top of those blue boxes is, Tridd? It's a small area. There's not much they can do to stop themselves being forced away. The 2 kills opens the whole thing up, and now One.PoinT are the ones in control in the driving seat of this payload.
Name a better duo in this meta. It's going to be supports and playing Roadhog, but Danye finding multiple kills on the Widowmaker. Frost being the victim. Malzaza going down. Molf getting his name on the board. Copenhagen Flames killed any momentum. One.PoinT brought into this second stage.
So now they can kind of reset and play a little bit more comfortably with a bit more freedom and flexibility. They aren't confined to playing on top of a box almost. And Danye once again finding Frost. That's got to be at least big advantage, Danye. That's 3-1 so far.
Really making it clear that he's the superior Widowmaker on this map. I know it's not always as black and white as that, but it really feels like it at the moment, Des.
Yeah, just setting up quite comfortably. Like I said, the great thing about the ability of having this dive setup is they've got all the entrances covered. You've got Danye, the Grand Overlord, overseeing everything. Anyone tries to walk in through one of these doors, he'll be there. And how quickly he's scoping in and out of an exit is ridiculous. He's just getting ready to make sure if anyone who walks through, he's got the sights there and ready. Goes to the Diva. Sadly, tanks aren't really your ideal target.
It's a very complicated game of whack-a-mole, and Darnier's got a very powerful mallet, but the Moles are fighting back, only for Molfig to be able to shut down Malzaza when he tries to regress. But that momentary lapse of coverage from Darnier has given Copenhagen Flames more distance. Well, it's even 1 point more distance to move forward, but they're being shut down again, so that payload will start to move back. And I think that was a quick scope from Darnier there to take out Horfik on that door.
If it kills him,
it works, yeah.
It's really nice because what Flames are doing here is with having Darnier on the high ground, you're forcing Malzaza and the Diva of Brucen to come through first, contest him so everyone else can walk through for free. But it's just so difficult because as soon as they do that, everyone else pushes in and goes, right, we can move the payload. Problem is one of those tanks will always be guaranteed to die, usually Malzaza. It turns into a 6 versus 5 and Flames just clean up.
Trying an alternate route and they're staying together this time. They're just taking control of the high ground, but it is not the highest ground they can take. So Darnier's going to have to pivot, reposition. So they're still not fixing the problem. They're just poking one of the multiple holes in this bucket of water that just keeps out draining until Frost does that. There you go. He puts down the sponge and soaks up the problem altogether. Ding going to find Frost afterwards. Graceful going to bring back Darnier. The Dragon Strike's available for Horfik. Could fire it out just to guarantee no one's on that high ground, but here comes Nerf to secure the kill with a punch in the face. Self-destruct goes up and down. Payload hasn't progressed much further, but is still slowly trucking along. Is Naga going to get down and dirty, take out the robot. Darnier beats him to the punch by finding Scalar. That long-range rocket flail whip will knock them even further back. 1 point, really struggling to get even past the Harrier jet in this second stage.
Another very solid hold. Admittedly a bit confused, I think, with 1 point pushing on the high ground, trying to go to the side. They had the right intentions, just the execution and the follow-up on that initial move wasn't really there to give them the success they wanted. Just trying to force their way through a high ground here. A bit of a weird burn by Horthick just to try and force them away momentarily. They can still step back in, but Frost finds Ding. That could be the big one, because it means there's no Transcendence online.
They need more kills than that to make it work, and see how the kill feed's going to try and progress. Graceful going to bring Ding back, nearly taking out Nerfed on that attack with Horthick. Frost finally answers the Darnier. Horthick finding Naga. 1 point. If they were ever going to get this payload moving again, now is their time.
Finding those openings is all that they needed, and forcing the res out instead onto Ding just means that with Darnier, once he gets picked by Frost, well, there's nothing else to be said. It's going to be a 5 versus 6. They've lost all the Widow pressure, and they just collapse under the pressure from Frost.
Moving forward. Don't think this can be contested by Copenhagen Flames in a safe manner. It's going to be very risky to come into this one. You always see Maltz lose most of his health, and we'll get D-Mech shortly without some assistance from his team. That Transcend is going to come in. Naga shutting down Horfik. Self-destruct going up and over, no one to be found. It's time for the Transcendence of Scalar. But that monkey is not in range, and Naga is uncontested on the high ground. In fact, the only person doing it is Scalar. Darnier finds Frost. He's mixed it up again by going onto the Genji. Takes out Scalar as well, finishing off what Naga has started. And they push back 1 point with 30 seconds left on the timer. This is huge for the Flames.
And they've got both of their support ultimates online. You're absolutely right, but 1 point have got the infra site. That can mean so much, just giving them the intel of where they need to push, who their ideal target is, how far away they are, or even just giving Frost an opportunity like this to bring down Mercy. I have no idea why Graceful was speaking.
Graceful's going to have a time to come back into the fight. Copenhagen Flames need to stall this out for a little bit longer. Horfik matching out what Darnier was doing with the Genji, but he will be later to the Dragon Blade, assuming they can't remove him from the fight. Malzaza finding all the kills he needs with that lightning. Darnier and Ding going down. Graceful's back in the fight, brings him back. Dragon Strike separates him off the payload, buys some more time, but what are they going to do with the time? They haven't got anyone on the point just yet. Ding's coming in. Discord Orb is an easy takedown. Darnier's back with Malzaza, probably going to want to use that blade onto Frost. Cuts through Fat. He might be putting the team on his back here. Just needs to get Scalar.
So close.
No, he's so close. He was in range. Naga going to take out Horfik. Copenhagen Flames are still filtering through and getting kills, but no, they've been shut down at the last hurdle. Graceful comes in on that Tracer. The True Flex gets a kill. Recalls back, jumps back onto the payload. Brucen, the only person alive. He's bought enough time for Copenhagen Flames to come in. They're gonna hack Brucen, shut him down, and here come the reinforcements from 1 point. They've managed to filter back the Copenhagen Flames. The spawn proximity, it's too big for them. Gonna keep them alive in this game. Doesn't even matter. Copenhagen Flames gonna stop 1 point shy of the final section of Gibraltar.
It seems to be with both teams when it comes down to the overtime. The stall is in effect. They're both like, right, anything that's quick goes. Scalar on the Soldier. We saw Sombra's coming through. We had Lucio's being picked up. Graceful doing all the work there, though, stalling it out on the Tracer, managing to bring down that Zen at the very end. That was the big crucial one because there was then no healer remaining on the point. Great defense by Flames in the second stage of that map. That's probably one of the best defenses I think I've seen at the hangar phase.
Absolutely, I would have to agree with you on that one, Des. One thing to note as well, the benefit of having that Sombra, when they hacked out D.Va at the final point then, she did have a self-destruct to scatter and buy herself even more time. Team come back in. With the hack coming through, stops it from being used altogether.
That's going to be the real kicker. The one thing that they will look back on and go, damn sneaky Sombra. Them damn hacks, no self-destructs, no wins. If it gets to this point, now it gets to the second end of the stage, again, small micro things in games can have big impacts. One little hack can win them the whole game.
If they knew there was a Sombra, if you're Bruceing and you're close to getting that ultimate, just put on high sends, spin round 360, constantly firing, break the hack, break the stealth, break everything on that Sombra. So close to pulling it off. I'm not saying it would have got them the win, but it definitely would have bought them a little bit more time to hopefully get those reinforcements. 1 point, they know exactly what they need to defend to now, and it starts on that box. The blue box of destiny that decides how their first attack is going to go.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we saw that box reduced in size, because it is a very strong defensive point. However, they're opting to do something very different. They're going with the Orisa and the Roadhog on their defense, and of course the D.Va. Not something we really commonly see on the high ground defense. It tends to be a Winston and a D.Va coming through, of course. Malzahsa and crew clearly thinking the Orisa here might be the key to victory.
Going to take a similar route. You can see Naga going forward, getting some Molfic in the front to clear out that first initial stop. Going to move around, and already you can see the trail of Frost bullets. Nice little bit of gas for Naga to inhale and get healed up from. Just pushing this payload under the bridge. You want to make sure you get some distance on it so you don't have to travel back a far away distance to get that payload moving after you hopefully win that high ground fight. Going to change it up, I think. I think Nagas might be going back to the spawn room to mix it up. Daniel's gone on to the Genji, so they are going to change this up entirely. I think they might be opting for a full dive on this one, to maybe get onto that backline a little bit easier.
Key reason here is that 1 point have very much so painted themselves in one direction. They're trying to protect this high ground. If they can get behind them and get onto Frost in the backline, there's no one that can respond by jumping over there. There's no Winston or D.Va to give a defense matrix or a shield or a counter dive. He's in a lot of trouble. But Malzahsa finding a headshot to Danye, going to slow their plans down at least for now. But look at Naga where he's flanking.
So already snuck up behind him. I think they're onto it though, because there's a lot of people that are just apprehensive, double checking the area. Yeah, he's been spotted out by Frost. They're going to move on to it. Reinforcement comes in from Brucein, so already Naga pushed well away from his team. That's actually bad for Copenhagen Flames. Yes, you do create the pressure of will he appear, but you're divided as a team. Look at how they emerge from underneath it. Gonna catch it in transition, gets the kill onto Fat. Nerf pulls it off onto Frost. Copenhagen Flames pull off a successful wraparound. They just need to seal the deal and finish off the players from 1 point, and they're doing just that.
Absolutely caught 1 point with their pants down right there. They were still too busy relocating, making sure they had all the angles covered. Next thing you know, there's 4 members all jumping onto the Widowmaker, and you mentioned him being split was a disadvantage. Yes, if they were going for a head-to-head fight, they were just looking to get rid of Frost, and they did that in style.
The key moment of that was catching Fat in the transition in Guardian Angel. When he was exposed, unable to reposition, he's locked onto a path. Naga's moving in, throws Pulse Bomb out. Nerf going to get the Gunda Stomp onto Horfik, and this Dragon Blade from Genji. Not going to get any kill, but did make the supports think twice about getting into that fight. He's being chased out by Frost. So we're going to come back and say, hey, don't follow me, I'm coming after you. Graceful brings Nerf back into the fight. Naga finds Fat. Look how much faster this payload is moving through the second section. And Copenhagen Flames still have 4 minutes to work with, Des.
And let's not forget as well, this is 1 point's map coming into this one. They were the ones who chose to come to Gibraltar with a plan, but Flames are the one who are rolling out with the big defensive strats. They're coming to the very end, Tridd. There is 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining.
Brucein had to go for a reset. He's going to be a little bit later to the fight. Frost finding Naga. Nerf pops the Primal Rage and lets the fist fly, keeping everyone well disorientated away from the fight. Jumps back down. The lightning's going to pass through Malzahsa, but Frost comes out with the counterattack, takes out Graceful. No mercy. Self-destruct goes to the back. Sound barrier might be enough. No, Danye's still going to fall to it. So 1 point, they realize how close they are to losing this map, and they put up a valiant effort.
They get the reset, they've got the trans, they've got the primal range, they've got all the stall tools, so now it's going to be a real test of Flames' resolve in these final 3 minutes. Every pick they make here, every support ultimate, well, every ultimate in general they use actually, will be a huge one for them. They're going to roll out with the triple tank. Tridd to end this one out.
3-3, they just want to get bodies on the point, run straight at 1 point. And honestly, the only disadvantage they have to this one, I think, is Frost on the Hanzo. They got the high ground enabled for him. They might not be able to touch him, but if they win the ground war, who cares? Malzaza pops the Primal Rage. Starts knocking him about. They planted themselves on the payload. You're right, there. It is still moving. The rest of 1 point has to fall back. Now they're fighting in a Transcendence. That's easy cleanup for 1 point. As Horfix going to take out Danye. Naga still building charge. Not got a lot of energy to his name. Going to keep Mercy alive. She brings Danye back into the fight. Still need to get the kills on the board. Very slow paced in terms of the kills that are coming out. Just a slugfest between these two teams as Naga gonna start building up the charge. Now we're talking 100 energy, but it's immediately shut down by Malzaza. So 1 point, not having any shenanigans. 2 minutes 15 on the clock and only 4.5 meters to go.
100% charge, 0% HP Tridd there means that 100% energy is not going to be very useful. And I think I got the idea they were trying to roll with the 3-3 to get that Graviton Surge online, but they're going to mix things up again. We said this earlier on, literally a minute ago, in fact, when this whole thing started. They've got to take picks and they've got to stick to them. But finding Frost could be a big one, but Fat should be able to get this res down.
Should be able to get the res. There's a defense matrix to block the shots in transition. Frost goes down with that Dragon Strike. I think maybe they have time to bring him back through natural spawn and keep the respawn in case something else goes wrong for them. Naga gonna shoot at the bubble, wants to break through that. Malzaza seems to be an open target. Horfik looking low, he's got the Discord orb on him, but can't break through that shield. That's the support exposed, but the Hanzo's gonna clean the shot. Frost threads the needle through that Harrier to take out Naga. He's going to get a lot of attention from Molf, but he's going to turn around, Storm Arrow straight to the back. That's a tank fight that's surely going to go in favor of 1 point after the work that Frost has put in. Going to get the tag on the Danye, hasn't got the second for the kill, but the Recon Arrow going to let everyone know where this fight is. 1 minute left. We thought Copenhagen Flames defense was good. 1 point, really showing how to do it in this final stage of this section.
And they've got so many ultimates to play with. Flames starting to get theirs online as well. The remake coming through for Molf. He's got that self-destruct online. They're about to get the trans as well, force them off the high ground with the Dragon Strike. But then it's going to rotate ever so gently. There's no real need to move. Again, it doesn't cover a huge amount of ground.
There is a need to move for Copenhagen Flames, though. There's 40 seconds left. They need to break away this defense, and with Ding going down at 99% ult charge, it's really going to put a forward in the side of the Flames. Scaler comes around and finds Naga as well. They have popped that Transcendence from Ding to get back to the fight, but Malzaza's keeping them well away from the point with that Primal Rage. 1 point have got Copenhagen Flames so far away from their objective. I don't know if they can get back there in a confident and controlled manner.
Ding burning that trans may have just been the deciding factor as well. Burning it with some aggression from Malzaza. He's going to be so pleased with that return. But Scaler has still got his trans, but Naga's found Frost. This could be big.
Shaping it up with the Farah. He could have an opportunity here. Can't break through the resurrection. Fat there to bring back Frost. Here's the rally from Horfik, keeping everyone's armor nice and high. Naga finds Frost again, so there's no more Hanzo. Self-destruct on the back line, not finding anyone. There's going to be one sent over the top by Molf. No one found still. Danye can't land the shot, and already he's having a lot of bodies turn on him. Can't escape. Malzaza's cutting off the route of Avenue, and there goes the grapple hook to bring him up into the sky. No. Naga might go down here to the lightning. It's Scaler who gets the kill. Danye needs to pick it up, but Graceful gonna give them 2 DPS to play with. Fat brings in a resurrection to Malzaza. Naga going low, needs that pocket, get in his face. Discord orb, not enough to get the kill. The overtime is ticking down. The Transcendence comes out from Ding again. Mistake redeemed. Naga kills himself in the chaos, and Danye's still getting killed. Moth gets the D-Mech, no tanks available. Scaler again, gonna shut down Danye. The fight carries on going, and they need to keep it moving, but the respawn advantage is in favor of 1 point.
But Flames have got the numbers on this point as well with the Valkyrie in the sky. This could be their big turnaround. Naga going over to the Tracer, Danye on the Soldier. They are throwing hell and leather at this point. They want to end it right now with a 3-1, but no big explosions coming through. Graceful's gone. That could be the end of it.
Self-destruct sequence from Bruce and finds Graceful. Unfortunately, not going to be matched by Copenhagen Flames. Oh, Ding trades Malzaza. Scaler trades Naga. There's a D-Mech. Danye's now on the Soldier. Graceful is switched over to Doomfist to get back there in time. They're being cut down. Copenhagen Flames starting to lose too many bodies to make this viable. It's only Nerf on the point. They need that high mobility to get in there. Bruce is going to turn him down. Overtime still contested. It's Graceful, but the overtime's going to tick down. We thought it was all over, but 1 point forced out that 5th and final map.
Oh boy, we've only had one other 5th round map so far. This is going to be the second going on to Ilios, and we've already said about how that first map went. It didn't go in favor of 1.0. Flames probably going to feel pretty good coming into this, but what a map that was. The defense coming out of Flames on their defensive round. That final fight, which seemed to last an absolute eternity. That is the kind of scrap that you want to live for in Contenders.
Definitely unexpected coming into this series. We probably, I'm going to be honest with you, we thought it was going to be one-sided towards 1.0. Copenhagen Flames proving us wrong and showing that, hey, maybe we shouldn't have doubted them after these first 3 weeks. They're going to force out that 5th map against 1.0, and that's something I didn't expect to say today.
It's the close series like these ones that really kind of put the pressure on the players and really test their mettle as well. Coming into it 2-2 on it, seeing the scoreline, I'm just like, how? It's insane. You never would have expected this to be the scoreline coming into today. We were speaking about how for 1.0, if they drop one map, then it makes it a lot harder for them to get their auto win through. They have to still play next week. That conversation is now out of the window. Flames are on the verge of winning their first series, but 1.0 have got the opportunity to steal it away.
We're going to jump out the window quickly, take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you that 5th and, yes, final map in this series. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders Europe. We're in the final map of this series. And if you're just tuning in, we have our second tiebreaker map of the season. is, of course, 1 going up against Copenhagen Flames. They're the tiebreaker map. I'm going to reiterate to you, it's Control, it's Ilios, and if we look at map 1, we would suggest that Copenhagen Flames maybe have the advantage coming into this 5th map.
But it's almost like looking at a situation from 20 years ago and saying, oh, that's how it was back then, because since then the teams have been through a series and a half. Gibraltar especially was one of the most exciting maps, I think, on both attack and defense going through. The first point was kind of rolled over by both teams, let's be honest. All the action happened inside Hangar. Neither team got out of there, but it was 1 bringing the series back to 2-2. That now means we have to go to this final map. It's so hard to call. I've literally said it. They're pulling at my heartstrings here. I don't know who I want to back to win this one, because both sides have shown real character and grit during this series, and that's what you want in Contenders, a team that shows that they really put their heart on the line when it matters most. And in a series like this, where for Flames, if they lose, they are well and truly out, or close to well and truly out. And for 1 if they would have won 4-0, they would have been going through to next week, already qualified. So much is on the line for both teams.
Let's have a look at how the standings look for the moment, or we'll run you through it anyway. We've got Team Giganti, now 4-0, #1 spot. CIS Hope, 2nd. They've got a game to play, which is coming up after this series. And then you've got a series of teams on 1 and 2 scorelines, 1 and 3 scorelines, and you've got Copenhagen Flames at the bottom currently with 0 and 3. If they get this map, if they get this series win, they're going to get themselves in a good position to come back next week potentially, because there's a lot of teams on similar score lines, barring Giganti and CIS Hope. That can, of course, all change in the next series after this. A win here definitely keeps them in the race for not only top 8, but also the lack of having to go through Contenders trials for Season 3.
Well, given 1 previous performances, even against teams like Giganti, who again have been a solid rock in this Group B stage alongside CIS Hope, we thought they would run away with this one. And it's hard not to think that. Good performances against the top teams, against a team that is 0 and 3, that has never really found their footing, that looks like 3 separate duos playing together in each of the roles. No one really kind of had Flames down to win a map, let alone a series. But here they are with 2 to 3 rounds, of course, depending on how they go, separating one of these teams and the opportunity to really go into next week with the opportunity to stay in playoffs.
2-round wins on Ilios will give either of these teams a series win and the chance to come back and make sure they get playoffs. We're going to take a quick pause. I believe Graceforce having some net issues by the looks of it. Only person not to pick a hero. Gonna assume it's him.
It's what we call the hype pause. The calm before the storm, as it might be. I can't imagine their internet connections are going to be ravaged, but if this game or this match or this map specifically, third time lucky, ends anything like Gibraltar, it's going to be a hype one. And this got to think again about the possibility of the things that we can see. A lot of Pharah play comes through on Ilios, so I'm expecting to see that. What's the counter to Pharah? It's a Widowmaker. So both sides have got fantastic Widowmaker players, so that will come out as well. Then you want to go to dive to deal with the Widowmaker, and we saw, I think, on Gibraltar, Copenhagen Flames, it was the one biggest downfall for them was they changed comp like 2 or 3 times during those final 3 minutes. If they'd have stuck on one and just built the ult charges up, I don't think it would have come down to a just purely overtime fight where it was all about who got back to the point quickest. Because we saw guys like Scalar going over to play Soldier, we had Naga going on to Tracer. Any pick that got them back to the point quicker seemed to be the answer. This time around, I don't want to see it go that way. I want it to be a bit more coordinated, you know, stick to your guns a little bit more. It's not often we say that flexibility is a good thing. But I think when you're seeing that a team is constantly throwing away ult charge and saying, oh, it's only 60% of an ult, they do add up over time and it can really start to cost you rounds.
I mean, the most surprising thing about this series has been the stalls, that you obviously pick the high mobility heroes to get back to the point, just to stall out, burn as much time back, potentially flip it. We've actually seen a lot of flips happening in this matchup. Now, one thing that is surprising as well, Horvik is on that Sombra initially. They've done the scout before, but I think he might actually run with this on the map.
They've got to have something crazy planned here, because Horvik's on the Sombra and Scalar is playing the Moira, which you only ever really see backed up behind a Zarya and a Reinhardt, but they're completely opting to go instead for the 6-0 dive trick.
Yeah, it's perfect. You saw a lot of this in Season 1. If there's no targets to be dived onto, then what are they going to do if you just run it as a ball unit onto their backline? They've already got control of the points, so it's working out for them already. Haven't seen Horvik yet, as you'd expect, the stealthy hero that is Sombra. Trying to get on to Naga, but it's Danya who finds Frost, so man advantage over the Copenhagen Flames. Gets a hack and has to bug out because Danye's eyeing up the shots. Now they're going on to Widowmaker. Grapple Hook is there. No one really has 2 mobility spells to keep up, so Danye is going to be safe for now. Naga moves in. Guns down Malzaza. DMAC as well. Tank line in disarray for 1 point. Copenhagen Flames, they may have lost control of the first point, but they're going to flip it over with about 25% progress on the board for 1 point.
And ultimates coming online incredibly quickly for both of these sides. 1 point just about to get the standard ult that's usually the first one online is going to be that Coalescence, but in this case was not sat behind a tank. Takes a bit longer. The one you've got to look out for is Horthic's EMP. When he gets that online, Flames will fall like rocks. They will not be able to be as mobile as they usually are. Ding loses all of that shield, so he turns from a 200 HP Zen into a 50 HP paper mache target. It's going to be a bit of a melting pot for them, so they've got to be careful and keep an eye on where Horthic is going to be.
85% and ticking. That seems to be the go button for 1Point. They've got Scalar's Coalescence as well. If everything starts to go wrong for them, Pulse Bomb thrown out, hit the wall, and everyone else going to dance through. There's the Coalescence. Going to burn through the wall. Horthic's got the EMP. Not going to use it yet. Transcendence is out for them. So if he waits for that to expire, gets himself in, has to back off though. That boot would have pushed him down the well. 1Point have got bodies on the point, but not enough to flip it over. Not enough control against Copenhagen Flames. And Naga going to recall back. Brusen going to take out Danya, but Ding takes out Horthic, so EMP going to have to wait a little bit longer. With 1Point still struggling to flip this point at 50%. Sound Barrier comes out for them. They've got to use one of those defensive ultimates, keep them alive. Self-destruct forced out. It appeared as though Nerf was going to get that kill, so they just want to get the fast mech reset, keep them alive on this point. Brusen back at it again. Molf going to lose his mech, but he doesn't have self-destruct. Nerf has been hacked. There's nowhere to go. There's no shield for him to use, and it's Brusen to gun him down. 1Point flip the point with 75% to go.
This is the big thing when you get that hack down, is that you know these targets who would usually flee, like the Winston who jumps to safety is going to get caught out. You can just absolutely melt them down. That's a 500 HP, basically free ult charge at that point that cannot get away from you. 1Point still holding onto the EMP. That's going to come out in this next fight, no doubt, just to try and shut Flames down and keep an eye on Danya, because of course he will be hacked, he will fall from the sky. Last place he wants to be is into that well.
He's going to be grounded by Horthic, and like they said, all that timing, Pulse Bomb goes out. No stick to Graceful, so he'll stay alive. Here comes Danye. I think he's out of the range of the EMP, and the Transcendence immediately comes out from Ding. He stayed out of range. He's going to keep the team alive. EMP is now redundant. 1Point still keeping the pressure on. Nearly find Graceful. They got both Malzaza and Frost looking for him. He shouldn't survive. Then follow up on the Ding. No supports available. Nerf, he's got the Primal Rage. Going to bring it out because there was no hack from Horthic to keep him down. Going to throw out those hands, locking people in a confined corner. Molf trying to build up charge. Just takes a one tap from Frost to the back of the head to clean him up. Now to remove Nerf. But they've also got to deal with Naga's Tracer on this point. Still going. While this is going on, they have control of the points. They're racking up the percentage. Reinforcements from 1Point come in. Sound Barrier hits everyone. Scalar going to get the kill onto Ding. Pulse Bomb in the pocket of Frost. Going to keep moving them around. 90% and ticking. Naga jumps in the hole. There's a reset for Flames.
Flames have got to make this work quick as well with 10% left. That was a very risky call from Naga, but I think he wanted to make sure he was able to rejoin this fight. Look at Horthic again going towards the EMP though. Frost has got the Pulse Bomb online. It only takes one bomb and this could all be over Tridd.
Has to be cool. 90%. There's the barrage from Danye. Finds Fat. Looking for a second kill. Falls into the well. Low HP. Graceful with the pocket. Keeps him alive.
Nice.
Pops back up to find Scalar. And the D-Mech onto Brusen. This should be Flames retaking the point because Frost knows it's all over. He's jumping down the hole.
Horthic has got that EMP, and we already saw what that did for them last time round. Yes, Ding managed to pop straight back out with that Transcendence online. They will not have the privilege of that in this next fight. They've got to be incredibly careful, or it could all end here. Flames will be down 0-1.
No one man should be able to take all that pressure, but Horthic with his EMP, he's already in the middle, looking to emerge it straight on the team. Here comes the dive from 1Point, and it's Nerf, the first one to go down. Danya gets a return attack. Self-destruct goes into the air, should ground a few targets. Horthic follows up onto Molf, and Danya still uncontested in the skies. He needs to find more kills before he goes down, but no, he's finally going to be taken out. 1Point have the man advantage. They need to flip the point. Naga, being the nuisance he is on Tracers, Horthic going to keep spraying him down. Gets off the point, no one to contest. With the fraction left, it's going to be Nerf touching the point, but the flip still comes in. 5 bodies on the point. It's all to play for. 99%, 99% overtime. Naga, no, no, no. You can't step off the point with those ones, my friend. First round going over to 1Point.
That overtime blitzed down a little bit too quickly for their expectations. I think they had members around the point. The Diva was there, the Winston was there. We even saw Naga there as well, but it just wasn't to be. Flames 1 round away. 1 round from potentially being banished from Contenders and down into Trials. That's how close it is.
Banished is very strong there.
It's a strong word, but with how the things have gone for them so far, it feels like a harsh word, maybe quite fitting for their record so far, you might say.
They're cast out into the barren wastelands of Trials, where only the strong survive and come back into Contenders Season 3. Because if they go 0-4, Dez, it's really hard for him to qualify, practically impossible. They're going to go onto this map, though.
Well, look at Snakes. They did exactly the same. They fell down to Trolls, came back up a stronger team, so it's not the end of the world if it comes to that, but they've still got another chance. So they've just got to win this round and then win the next one, and it's not all over. It's a big ass, though, but let's see if they can make it work.
Malzarz's been around about 50 HP for that entire time. He didn't go down until Molfig finally got the right amount of damage in there. Point's going to unlock. And 1Point, they're a man down, but Copenhagen Flames have over-aggressed and exposed the point for him to come onto. They just need to make sure they're getting the kills. Graceful, oh no, Possum goes out, doesn't stick. He's going to still find Darnier because he dropped back down. Naga gats down Frost, make sure he stays dead, and Brewson's going to find a couple of kills. But I think Copenhagen Flames got control of this for now, just need to seal the deal.
Good to see some flexibility as well from 1Point. Horthic hopping onto the Widowmaker while Frost picks up Tracer duty. Oh, the shot from Darnier.
Jump shot.
And gets Fazwell in the air at the same time.
Oh, Copenhagen Flames, you're just being too saucy now. Getting all those kills with Darnier being the hero. There's the reset. First cap going over to Copenhagen Flames.
Keeping the dream alive. They've got ultimates to play with. That infrasight probably not going to be too useful unless someone steps out of line, in which case they'll be greeted by a bullet to the forehead. Looking at what they've got online, though. Support ultimates of Flames are here. They've got that at least in their back pocket. 1Point, they're going to switch Fat over here, actually, and play onto the Lucio. They're going to try and commit to more of a dive-based setup, it feels like, here, with Brucean going across onto the Brigitte. They want to get into a target. They want to shut them down. They want to make sure they die quickly.
Look at Nerfed off to the side with his buddy. Hiding around the corner, going to reposition because 1Point taking the exact opposite route. Coalescence hitting no one for the time being, has to pivot there on to 1Point to get the damage done. Malzarza pops the primary rage, gets Darnier. Naga going to find Scaler, and he bounces back, trying to avoid that very angry monkey. Keeps his distance, but getting some attention from Frost in the backside. So, a 90% on that pulse bomb, needs to move forward. Ding and Nerf getting the kills. This is a very dominant Copenhagen Flames compared to Well.
Well. A strong performance. And actually, oddly enough, considering we're on Ruins, this series is not looking in Ruins for Flames. They've had a very strong performance, 60%, and they're still holding on to those ultimates. For 1Point, though, there is some solace in the fact that Scaler is about to have the Transcendence online. If they just want to push their way onto the point, they can make it work. Horthic looking towards that blade, though. We've already seen what he can do with it once in this series. We've got to see him do it again. But a Frost Pulse Bomb, that works just as well.
Awesome going out, Horthic getting a kill onto Graceful as well. We did bring back Naga. Horthic finding both supports, and Malzaza and the rest of 1Point gonna flip this point. About 85% and ticking, but they've left it far too long to be comfortable for the rest of this round, as Brucean gonna finish off the tanks of Copenhagen Flames to make sure 1Point can get on the board.
Brucean the Brute just storming his way through pretty much the whole lineup of Flames. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say this, but they're still holding on to 3 ultimates, Tridd. They need to start using them in these fights. It's why they're online, otherwise, well, it's just sat there as deadweight in a sense. Start bringing them out, start winning these fights more decisively. 1Point have just brought out the rally, so everyone is now armored up to the high heavens. Flames are going to have a tough time breaking through.
Ding wishes he had that armor, going incredibly low. Brings himself back up. Now got the Coalescence, but he's on the back line by himself. Malzaza hasn't got enough damage to peel away and make sure he takes out that support. Darnier mixes it up with the Faro pick. We've seen him do work on the previous round with that hero, and he's going to go at it again. Darnier pulling off the rockets. Direct hit onto Scaler, sends him to the grave. And Naga's going to have to back away from Fat. Just there's a little bit too hot for him to work. The flip so close for Copenhagen Flames. The kills are coming in. They got 5 bodies on the point. 85% and ticking. 1Point. Squeaky bum time. Get in there, flip that point, and get yourself this map.
It's all going to come down to this final fight. Fat's not too far away from the sound barrier, and they've got that blade I was speaking about. If he can get it out in time here and get into the backline of Flames, that could be their big win conditions, and they're still going to hold for the 57%. Let's see if he makes it work. Out comes the blade.
Horthic finding Darnier, so he takes out the skies, drops down to ground level, can't find anyone else, goes into the face, slashes at the monkey, but it doesn't really do much. Graceful going to bring Darnier back, get him back in the skies, peppering 1Point with rockets, but Horthic finds Ding, he finds Graceful. No more supports for Copenhagen Flames. They should be able to flip this, but in the meantime, Copenhagen Flames have got 99% to their name. We've seen how a lapse in their thinking can allow them to miss out on that 99% overtime.
And they've still managed to hold to the sound barrier, so Fat not feeling the need to burn it in that fight. They had the Transcendence usage, so there's no need to double layer those support ultimates. But you're looking at Darnay. Problem is, if he goes to try and use the Assault, maybe he catches one, but the sound barrier is going to follow through and they are going to remain safe. But for Flames, they've exhausted most of their options here. They don't have ultimates online to play with except for that barrage.
1Point was sending everything at Darnay, and despite that, still gets the barrage out. Will dive because he got someone diving at him, but will have the resurrection to bring him out. Bruceson takes out Graceful with the self-destruct though. There's no more healing for Copenhagen Flames beyond Ding, who's now going down. Bruceson has been a support assassin for 1Point. 75% in ticking. Horfik dashes through Nerf. About to have another Dragon Blade for a final fight. If Copenhagen Flames can pull that together, they've got 15% to go to securing this map, this series, and also their playoff hopes.
This is going to be heartbreak here if they give this point away. One final fight coming through. 1Point, since they took this point back at the 43% mark, have looked unrelenting. Flames got to go with the final push. Again, ultimates are not their friend right now. Horfik has got the blade and they've got no answer to stop it.
One fight this size. This Naga throws out the pulse bomb, finds nothing. Here comes the Dragon Blade. Where's Horfik? He's already on Ding. He's going to take him out. Misses, has to climb back up. There's an exposed mold for him to destroy as well. 1Point have started dismantling Copenhagen Flames. They were on the brink of victory, and 1Point are going to try and shut it down, but Naga wants to pour some kerosene on that ember of a flame and bring it back to burning strong. Frost is there with a fire extinguisher as he gets Darnay and Graceful. They're drip feeding themselves onto the point. Overtime ticking down. It's going to be a bit of a longer stall because they can make it in time. Pulse Bomb going to go out, clear out the final members. Molf is back with that Diva. Going to be using the defense matrix to store him out. He steps off the point with the D-Mech. 1Point going to secure Ilios 2-0. And Copenhagen Flames, it looks like they're going to be fighting it out in trials next season.
Heartbreak being at 0-4 for these guys. And we spoke about the teams who've got that 1-2 scoreline. You're relying on a bit of a miracle here, I think, to pull this one back. But to be fair, they've looked good this week. And I don't know if the squad will skate together, of course, going into trials. But potentially, with how good they've been looking, we're really starting to see that synergy we knew they had inside them. 2 weeks ago, if it had come together just a bit quicker, we might be having a very different conversation. And we were so close to in this series, going all the way to a tiebreaker map. That's what you want. It was almost like a swan song, but they gave a really good performance, and I'm keen to see, at the very least, how they perform next week as well.
Absolutely. They've got one more map to play, get themselves a win on the border. Unfortunately, I will have to confirm it later on, but I believe with the 0-4 scoreline, they won't be able to make it into the top 8 and secure themselves a position for Season 3. But there's a lot of potential on this roster, even if they don't stay together, which I know a lot of teams will do. They obviously want to move around and find what works for them. That's what experimentation is all about. There's a lot of shining talent on this roster. They stick together, give it a couple more weeks or the months between Season 3 and the Trials competition. This roster can definitely level up, bring it all together sooner and start competing with the big boys. But if the talent wants to go elsewhere, individually, they're mechanically great and the time will give them all they need.
You've got to consider as well in the case that although they're currently at 0-4, they're taking a couple of maps a day. Eagle Gaming aren't too far away. They are currently 1-2 with 6 maps in their favor, and a couple of the other teams, we have Org, are in the same kind of boat. It's not all completely over, but as far as probability goes, it may as well. Yeah. We'll find out, of course, how that rounds up next week.
Okay.
Who knows?
Well, we're going to throw it over to our desk to break down not 2 maps, but 3. So, Sam and the boys, take it away.